Yeah, this is great. Welcome to TalosCon. This is, as Kim said, this is our third TalosCon. The first one was virtual, online. Second one was in person in London and was about a third of this many people, about 100 for that. So this is very exciting. Largest gathering of Talos Linux users and the Sidero Labs community ever. I hope to be saying that every year for quite a long time going forward. Hopefully each one will get double or triple or more like this, so very exciting. So that growth reflects what we're here to celebrate, the momentum of Talos Linux and Omni and Sidero Labs. I am, as Kim said, Steve Francis, the CEO. It's a privilege to kick off this, the biggest and best TalosCon so far, but more to come. So not everyone knows Sidero Labs is the company behind Talos Linux. You probably do if you're here, but make sure you tell your friends that Talos Linux still has a big reach in the Kubernetes open source space, and Sidero Labs is what makes it possible, and Omni is the thing that makes it easier and secure. So our mission is simple: secure, scalable, and simple distributed computing for everyone by anyone. So the founding of Sidero Labs was kind of predicated on the problem that was a simple problem, but massive, in that in order to run infrastructure securely and reliably, you shouldn't need an army of experts, and you shouldn't need mountains of complex shell scripts. So it did. In most cases, it still does. So that's what Sidero Labs was built on for when infrastructure from the operating system up that's defined by containers, automation, and security. So we've taken a different approach than other companies. We're always trying to ask what we can simplify. What can we remove? The less users have to manage, the better. So I think, certainly in the Kubernetes space, a lot of operating systems do things in a suboptimal way. Like when I first started in computers, systems analysis, one thing someone said to me that always resonated is, when you're implementing new computer systems or new computer workflows, you don't want to do the same thing they're doing, because otherwise you can just make a bad process much faster. And so you end up getting bad results quicker. So you always want to look at the outcome you're trying to achieve and engineer towards that. So in the case of configuration drift, configuration drift is a real problem when you're running fleets of hundreds or thousands of computers. And you can try and solve it with tools like Puppet or Chef or Ansible or Terraform or whatever that basically say, on this set of computers, I want to identify all the files I don't want drift and reset them back to the way they were if there is any drift. That is an approach, but that's kind of like getting the bad result in a quicker way. So the way we try and do it is we try and simplify the problem. What if you completely eliminate configuration drift? Great, that sounds idealistic, but that is what actually Talos Linux and Omni do. If you eliminate user logins entirely, if you ensure servers are only configured by a declarative read-only API, if the file systems are immutable, there is no configuration drift. So basically, it just changes the way the problem is approached. So it's simple, but you have to rethink things from the ground up. And that is the way we do things at Sidero Labs. Yeah, so today, Talos Linux powers tens of thousands of clusters around the world, from Fortune 100 enterprises to many, many edge deployments to many, many home labs. Interestingly, the venture capital firm that invested in us last year, they found us because one of their partners runs Kubernetes at his home lab. And so he was looking for the best way to do it and tried other systems and then came across Talos Linux on Reddit and deployed it and said, oh, this is so different and so good, we have to invest. So that was a nice side benefit of having a good product. Yeah, so Omni, our API-managed Kubernetes platform, it now manages infrastructure in a way, not at the scale, but in a way that rivals that of traditional public cloud tools, but with more transparency, more control, and more security. So these are just some of the enterprises that are here today using Talos and Omni. There are obviously many, many more companies around the world, but these people are in the room. So if you see someone from these companies, feel free to pigeonhole them and say, why is it so good? What do you get out of it? What are the benefits? Hopefully, they will bore your ear off with how effective it is. So last TalosCon, I basically spent a lot of the opening talk trying to say, we're a viable company, we're real. Even though we're only, I think we were 12 people at that time, you should trust us with your complex mission-critical infrastructure. We're past that point now. We've had an extraordinary year at Sidero Labs. We've grown our customer base a lot. We about doubled the team size. We're still a small company, but there's no doubt that we are here and we're the foundation for growth, and we're not going anywhere. So we are the credible choice. Now it's not, should I trust you? It's like, why should I go with anyone else? So it's indisputable. We have momentum. We're here to stay. So now we want to focus on what matters to you guys rather than saying, trust us. We want to say what we've built for you. So this is just a quick recap of what happened over the last year. Well, from my point of view, one of the more interesting things is we hired a whole bunch more great software engineers. So that's been very exciting. We're definitely an engineering-led company. We invest heavily in R&D because innovation is our core advantage. That is what differentiates us, that's what enables us to simplify things and come up with radically better solutions. All of our SRE team is here today. They're some of the guys in the pink shirts, so say hi to them and thank them for helping run out the Omni infrastructure and building that out and making your infrastructure simpler and more secure and faster. So in the last year, these are just some of the things. The Talos image cache helps things at scale, helps edge deployments operate much quicker. User volumes, probably the re-engineering of user volumes was the most requested feature for probably the last 3 years. When Andrew came up with the concept for Talos, he was very much it was a very philosophically pure approach in that, if you're a node, I'm going to assume Talos completely owns this primary disk, can reformat it, can reinstall it any time it wants, because everything is cattle, there are no pets. And that's great unless your node happens to have a couple of terabytes that's on a single volume, and you want to use it for data, say. Or you have multiple volumes, and you may need to boot into other operating systems. So there's been some adaptivity to the real-world constraints. But that has been a big thing. And again, we're always investing in security. So SE Linux, SBOMs, FIPS compliance, so forth. Omni, there's also been a bunch of improvements, always. Infrastructure providers are probably the more interesting one that's come out this year. So Omni can now directly manage bare metal, power machines on and off. Can do the same thing for KubeVirt virtual machines. Almost about to do it for Oxide computers natively. We've got an EU-based data center. We've got SOC 2 compliance. So lots of stuff coming in with Omni. The machine join tokens lets you manage the way machine joins, can set up different tokens to authenticate machines from different classes, then rotate them out. Just security always and always. So I just want to talk about, you're going to hear, like Kim said, many people talk about real-world use cases and why Talos and Omni work and are effective. But I just want to highlight one case from a company that's not here, but I just think is interesting. So Hathora, they make, what is the correct term? A platform for server orchestration for multiplayer games. So basically, if you're a gaming company, you don't want to build your own infrastructure to run your game. So that's what Hathora does. Because games sometimes succeed very wildly, sometimes do not, the demand for the compute infrastructure you need for a game is unpredictable when it launches. So that's perfect use for cloud, you might think. And it is, except cloud tends to have a non-trivial bill that comes with it. So when Hathora launched their business, they were all in on cloud. They were scaling up and scaling down. And then they got their first couple of months of invoices and said, this isn't sustainable. So they needed the ability to control costs by running the bulk of their servers on bare metal, but still burst into the cloud when the demand warranted it. And they needed this to run on global infrastructure in many countries around the world because latency matters. So this is where Talos, Omni, and Kubespan, our integrated network encryption solution, came in and helped them out. They have a platform that's built on bare metal, and then when demand warrants, they burst up into the public cloud seamlessly and with transparent encryption. So for them, that basically means they have a fixed cost of their server hardware that services their base load. If a game launches and is successful, they can instantly scale up into many regions around the world. And they can do all this with 5 engineers managing their global network, which is pretty unprecedented for the amount of traffic and infrastructure that they are running. And they can do that because of Omni. And it saves them a whole bunch of costs, both on compute costs because they're doing bare metal, and on the bandwidth costs and egress charges that cloud providers like to charge you. So this is all protected and secure and all reliable, all powered by Sidero Labs. So there are lots of great talks today. You will find inspiration from someone who's tackling similar problems to whatever you're facing in your work. So please join in, share your experiences, talk to people, introduce yourselves, meet the amazing team that's here that's helped build the infrastructure, and companies and the community that makes all this happen. And together we're building the future of secure declarative infrastructure, one cluster at a time. Welcome to TalosCon.